Subscribe or they will haunt you. In what movie did you like the bad guy more than the good guy? Tom and Jerry. And not necessarily just the movie, but the regular cartoons. Fluke, that antagonizing little mouse. He has no redeeming features. Used to watch the show every week waiting for the one time Tom would finally get him. I was the oldest of way too many kids and I always sympathized with Tom. As I get older, I sympathize more and more with the principal and sister in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Ferris did need to take more responsibility for his actions, but that does not excuse the principal ducking out of work, breaking into Ferris's house, and hitting their dog over the head with a ceramic pot. Jaws, you want the shark to win. In the book pretty much every character is a complete shitbag with zero likable qualities. So you want the shark to eat their asses. In the movie they made them slightly more likable and relatable, but you still want the shark to win. Loki in Thor. Michiel Douglas's character in Falling Down. He was just so badass and methodical, and 90% of the things he did you kinda want to do yourself too. And like all the best bad guys, he doesn't even realize he is the bad guy. It's even more impressive because Prendergast, the good guy, is an amazing, likable character too. The Little Mermaid. Ariel is a princess who obsessively loves the monsters who actively hunt and eat her subjects. Then she falls in love with a guy whom she just met while he was actively in the process of kidnapping sapient fish to be slaughtered and eaten. Meanwhile, Ursula is a badass. Everything she said about humans in general and Prince Eric was basically true, and those fishermen had it coming to them. I really want to see a play or movie like Wicked, but about Ursula. Megamind, but that was kinda the point. His brain just too thick. The Iceberg in Titanic has always felt like a relatable antagonist. The Joker in the 1989 Batman. Played by Jack Nicholson. He was really fantastic. He was funny, liked Prince's music, was a snazzy dresser, and had a major thing for Kim Basinger. What's not to like? I think I was 12 the first time I saw it, and I legitimately cried when he died. Captain Hook. Peter Pan is a little piece of shit. Captain Hook is just doing his job. Anthony Hopkins in The Silence of the Lambs. Ultron was the only interesting character in his movie, and I say that as a guy who loved basically every other movie in the series. Everyone else was so one-dimensional and boring, and here Ultron is sighing and showing frustration, and calling people on their hypocrisy, and being the only character that feels human, even though he was a robot. In Man in the High Castle TV show, the bad guys like John Smith were way more interesting than Juliana, the main character. Meryl Streep's character in The Devil Wears Prada. So much more interesting than Anne Hathaway's character. Just about everyone. I love horror, and as a kid I realized that if I rooted for the bad guy, it's less scary. Whenever I have a nightmare I always hug the thing trying to kill me. 10/10 always works. Squidward, but also Hades from Hercules. He's just so sassy and blue. Hercules, the Disney animated version. I really liked Hades' character. Anything with Christoph Waltz as the villain, but particularly in Glorious Bastards. Edited, I legit thought his name was Christopher Waltz. Shoshana's breath of tension relief followed by bursting into tears sums up Landa. High School Musical. Troy and Gabriella are souls. The B-movie. Ken was the only sane person. Rumpelstiltskin in Once Upon a Time. Even before his redemption arc, he was just so much more entertaining for me than any of the good guys. As much as I love Clarice Sterling in Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal Lecter is still the best character in the whole movie despite only have 16 minutes of screen time. Kung Fu Panda 2. I like cold calculating villains who don't need to be ultra strong or puppet masters to prove that they're a real threat. Shen was really interesting because he was smart in his strategy, and especially when he tries to stop his fate, but everything he does only seals it. In Despicable Me, I think the bad guy Gru was better than good guy Gru, although I have some mixed feelings about it. Sure, good guy Gru was lovely to their adoptive girls and started to enjoy the world more and more, which I think was positive, and he was still a villain after all. But the evil Gru that didn't give a shit about others and just wanted to steal the moon was a bit funnier. The devil in Bedazzled. Mainly because he's played by Elizabeth Hurley. It has to be Die Hard. Alan Rickman as Hans Gruber was the best. Then again, he was fantastic as the Sheriff of Nottingham in Robin Hood Prince of Thieves 2. Actually, I think I just probably loved Alan Rickman's bad characters. Edit. Okay, all of Alan Rickman's characters. The Monarch in Venture Brothers. Eat. De Niro. Pacino. Don't let yourself get attached to anything you are not willing to walk out on in 30 seconds flat. If you feel the heat around the corner. I like bad guys who have legit reasons. Clue from Tron Legacy was instructed to make the perfect system, but he took it a little too seriously. He was just doing his job to make it a perfect world. HAL 9000 from 2001 Space Odyssey is another good one. He wasn't evil. He was just given conflicting programming. Dr. Houseman in Dirty Dancing. The man works his off so he can take his family on a nice, long vacation. The doc is a very lenient parent, giving his teenage daughters all kinds of leeway and freedom to do whatever they want. When baby asks for $300, which is a large sum of money back in 1962, her dad gives her the money with barely any hesitation. Because he trusts her. Baby gives that money to one of the dancers so she can get an abortion. It's botched, and who saves the day? Oh, right. Dr. Fluking Houseman, of course. He makes one comment about that being where his money went, and then gets to work saving the woman's life. And baby's punishment for taking $300 from her father under false pretenses? She can't do her dance routine for other vacationers. That's it. She has to sit with her parents for a couple of hours. Literally the most lenient punishment imaginable under those circumstances. But of course Patrick Swayze comes in and is like, no bodai piates baby I am a koarana. Fluke you Patrick Swayze's character. Baby Fluking deserves to be in that corner. I rooted for Jared Butler's character Clyde Sheldon in Law Abiding Citizen. Muppet Treasure Island. Come on. Tim Curry. The good, the bad, and the ugly. I sided with Tuco, the ugly guy. Absolutely. I recently rewatched this movie, and at times it felt like Tuco was actually the main character. He walked an incredibly fine line too. One moment he's sympathetic, you actually feel bad for him despite the shitty things he'd done up to that point. Then in the next instance he shows just how dangerous he can be. The good and the bad both have scenes that demonstrate they're great gunslingers, but that's all they seem to have going for them. With Tuco there's a desperate onto his character. Time and again he finds himself in multiple situations where he seems finished, yet somehow with wits and guile he finds a way out of them. Hands down the most interesting character in that movie.